Namaskaram. Welcome to Reflections on Krishnakumar Ji, Legacy of Ayurveda. Here, Krishnakumar Ji was a man of many faces. His daily life adorns the role of a teacher, visionary, philosopher, counselor, administrator, and entrepreneur. There were many who benefited from his kindness, his mentees, other Ayurvedic firms, people who seek guidance in his Ayurvedic business journey. He never owned anything. At the same time, he owned everyone and everything in Ayurveda in a spiritual way. Today, we come together to celebrate the life of Krishnakumar Ji. Through this series, individuals who knew him personally and professionally will share their cherished memories, reflecting on his profound impact on their lives and the enduring legacy he leaves behind in the world of Ayurveda. Let us honor his teaching and continue to spread the timeless wisdom of Ayurveda through these heartfelt tributes. Today, we are honored to welcome Dr. Nambi, a distinguished figure in the world of Ayurveda, as today's speaker. Dr. Nambi is celebrated globally as an orator, teacher, clinician, and researcher, and he belongs to the esteemed Ashtavedya's lineage, which carries a centuries-old tradition of Ayurvedic excellence. Over a decade of experience, Dr. Nambi is a strong advocate for classical Ayurveda, and his commitment to this timeless wisdom is evident in his teachings. Currently, he serves as the director of the academic division at SNA Aushadha Shala Private Limited, a prestigious institution founded by Ashtavedyan Thrissur Thaikatmos in 1902. He is also the principal of Ashtangam Ayurveda Chikitsalayam and Vaidya at Vavanur, Palakkad district, where he continues to influence the next generation of Ayurveda practitioners. Welcome, sir. Sir, I know you have known Krishnakumar Ji for a long time, but can you share briefly how long have you known Krishnakumar Ji and in what capacity?
I know Krishnakumar Ji at least more than 20 years because I heard his name through my father. My father was a student in Kottakkal Ayurveda Shala. So he was one of the earliest student in Ayurveda Shala, Ayurveda Pathashala. And maybe he was the first Ashtavaidya who studied in Ayurveda college. So that time onwards, Krishnakumar Ji's father, P.V. Ramavaidya sir, was there in Ayurveda Shala and in their connectedness. So my father and P.V. Ramavaidya sir were knowing each other. So oftenly, whenever we speak about, Ayurveda, what has been happening in Ayurveda, how Ayurveda has been spread, definitely his name comes in the scene. And I heard his name personally maybe between 2001, 2002, that period, during my post-graduation time. And I met him personally multiple times at that time. Whenever we want to organize different conferences, we used to, as a head of the institution of AVP, we go and meet him, ask about different reasons, maybe some financial support for the program, or maybe other reasons like how to run the program, etc. And very oftenly, he used to guide us how to do things. So that was one of the earliest interaction I had with him. But later on, I become much more closer to him, especially during the period of when the series of Tattva Prakashini started, and especially the series of Ayur Sutra, Ayur Sharira, that thing. Since I was knowing Ram Manohar in AVP at that time, so Ram Manohar used to place my name as one of the speaker in that Ayur Sutra, Ayur Sharira, like Saptaha series of Ashtanga Hridayam. Maybe he might have had an idea that I'm basically from an Ashtavedya family, so I may able to say something a little bit different from the traditional school of thought, etc. But I was a little bit confused, at least at that time, how to address the students. Many times when we have symposiums like this, especially that program of Saptaha, when we are supposed to speak with a very deep of knowledge, there may be some specific chapters has been given. And such situations, I was a little bit resistant sometime to say that, am I eligible to do that? Because I was just done my post-graduation, so I was a little bit hesitant to do actually. Then I met Krishnakumar Ji. Then I asked Krishnakumar Ji, do I really eligible to do this? Why don't you look for someone else? Then immediately Krishnakumar Ji's statement was, still remember, his statement was that maybe it is, you are not learned, but it is there in your blood. That statement was really inspirational from the day when I met him, because I was thinking that, okay, I have not learned that area profoundly, but his intention was to communicate to me that from younger age, anyhow, you have learned Ashtanga Hridayam, and moreover, you are from such a traditional family, so you have a genetical possibility that you will say something more. So even though it was a challenging statement, because that statement also had another meaning that you are supposed to reflect your knowledge much more different than other people, and you have more responsibility to reflect yourself from the Shastra. So that was my earliest interaction, and every time I go for this Sutra, Sharira, Chikilsa, this time I used to have interaction with him. We discuss many things, not only about the program. I used to ask him about different books, so he used to recommend nice books to read. Especially, I had one time I was having a conversation. So I was telling about the Savitri, the Aurobindo's great collections of Aurobindo. There are some people to whom we can speak. Some people who can ask them how. Then he was immediately he taken some statement from the complete work of Aurobindo, and he started explaining me how beautiful it is, because he has had a strong, profound knowledge of English, which normally at that time, at least, Ayurvedic community really lacking. And he was explaining me how that Aurobindo's conversations, especially the articles were coming in the Savitri and the Aurobindo's. Like that, our conversation were much beyond Ayurveda. At that time, at least, I used to ask him many, spiritual related books, and his opinion about different readings, especially like complete work of Vivekananda, this type of things. He was very oftenly inspiring me to read, to expand my area of knowledge.
What I'm getting is that Krishnakumar Ji guided you to be a teacher, but a little bit more, a little bit higher level of educator. And also he guided you in, or he guided you into, developing that passion and accepting that you are destined to do this, and to, push you in that direction. So, and you are a teacher today, and what connections have you made with him regarding the future of Ayurveda education and the development of next generation of Vaidyas? Because Krishnakumar Ji, as you said, was much invested in raising the next generation of Vaidyas. So he made these programs which were very unique, like Ayur Sutra and Tatu Prakashini, all of these things with that intention. How have you connected with him in molding the next generation of students?
Whenever we had conversations, he oftenly highlight that we have to be more adhere to our own tradition, especially the Indian knowledge systems. He was oftenly referring the Coimbatore model of education, which was already stopped at that time when I started discussing with him. He oftenly says that I have, when I at the age of maybe 27 or 28, I made a adventurous decision to start an Ayurvedic college. That too, keeping the students free of cost, selecting the students with looking at their astrological things, looking at their many other things, and giving them free food, free accommodation, and giving them all best possibilities. So that was very, I was at that time, I was really confused when he was telling about that idea, because when he says those type of things, at that time, as a just Ayurvedic student from a normal academy, I was not really not able to understand what really means. So I oftenly ask him, what did you mean? How you connect these Indian medical systems, other systems like Jyotisham, Vastu, whatever the even philosophical system, how do we connect that? So he had a very clear idea. That was very inspirational to me because he has a very clear idea that he was telling some statement like, learning is not not like a classroom process. It is a continuous process. So whenever a student has been kept in classroom, it's not a classroom, rather a student has to be under a teacher, under a guru, continuously from morning to night. I mean, the whole day. It's not that we have a period of time, certain hours you sit with a teacher, you have a certain subject you study, like that. No, he was actually disagree with that pattern of education at all, because he was telling that our traditional knowledge system was learned under a one guru, one teacher, and this teacher has a very deep idea, and he has a one-to-one conversation, and that guru will fill the gap of that person. This was very important. Actually, this was very inspirational to me because the current normal academical education, oftenly when we have students from different culture, different age group, even sometime, and different background where they come, and there may be a lot of conflict of interest, and very oftenly it's a big challenge for a teacher how to balance all these people and meet the things. But the advantage of a guru was that he has a freedom to choose the student. At the same time, he has a great responsibility to refine that person to the best possible for the society. This was Krishnakumar Ji's a beautiful idea, because when I was speaking to him, so he was telling me that, it's not the number matters. If it is, there are 50 students, 60, it's not the number matters. Rather, the quality matters. I really surprised because he was giving a good example. When this Coimbatore experiment started, there was no hospital in the beginning. When the Mankare campus was there was no hospital in the beginning. More largely started with an academical, theoretical aspect, and slowly later on they started with the hospital. But all of them who come out from them become great clinicians, because they were really sound in the siddhantas, they were really sound in the concepts. So they were really able to explore all the possibilities from that background on which they build upon. So this type of this type of areas, taking new challenges, how to mold a student, this was very inspirational to me as a teacher. And more interestingly, teaching Ayurveda, like Indian medical systems, how it is connected with other philosophical systems, was always an inspiration to me whenever I heard from him.
Sir, I know that your wife is also a product of Krishnakumar Ji's school. And do you think that her education is somehow, understanding that is different from the students that we have in conventional schools?
She was studied in BAMS, maybe the last batch of, I think it's the last batch of Mankare in 2017-18 period. And then they moved from Mankare to the RVS campus. At that time, KP Muralidharan sir was the principal. And probably that was a junction period. They had all the transition from a typical traditional style into a little bit a modern way. But what I found is that there are a few things he kept it very strongly. The consistency deep into the system and understanding the Samhitas as best as possible. That method, that method was really appreciable. And oftenly Krishnakumar Ji used to say, it's not the problem of the student, it's the problem of the teachers. He oftenly blame teachers, including me, that you people are not putting effort sufficiently. That's why good students are not coming. So whenever we meet, many discussions happen. He always say, getting good student is easier, but making a good teachers is very difficult. So he often stress us to become a good teacher, try to understand subjects, and try to motivate students whenever possible. That was very oftenly he stress upon it. That still I remember.
Yes, sir. So, sir, moving on from the educational aspects, like Krishnakumar Ji, also comes from generational wisdom of entrepreneurship and Ayurvedic pharmaceuticals. And Krishnakumar Ji was at the helm of Ayurvedic pharmacy for a long time, like you have been with the SNA. So, what was it that you saw in him that inspired you in that aspect?
Of course, as an entrepreneurship, he was a great personality and who thinks out of box. Generally, whenever business comes, there will be some, always whenever we have different companies, they maybe have some healthy competitions. But Krishnamurji was a different personality. He used to promote all the people at a time parallelly. That company may be a business, competitor for them. But he never had that idea, okay, they are our competitors, so we should we should keep them away. Never. He never had that type of ego at all. Rather, he tried to pick up all the new generation people, whoever comes to him as an entrepreneur, whoever comes to him, try to understand them and help them, how to develop things, and how to look at the minor details. Let me give you an example. Even when I joined as a principal of Ashtangam in 2020 June 1st, besides my family members or SNA, many people even doesn't know that I'm joined as a principal now from HOD of Kaijigal start to be promoted. But in June 3rd, I got a message. Dear Narayanan, I was trying to call you. I didn't get you. Congratulations. I want to speak to you. With love, KK. I got a message immediately that I want to speak. Then in the June 3rd, I called him back. Then he told that he asked me, what is your plan, what we are doing, and as a principal, what are the things you are planning? Like he used to ask us, what is our vision, what is our mission, like that, and try to correct us. This is something, it's not easy. Those people who have a great intelligence and a large area of experience people can remember these type of things. He may be having a lot of interaction with his own industry, his own hospital. There are a lot of things happening. So how can he could remember people, through SMS or WhatsApp or whatever, all the possible ways he used to connect people, try to update information wherever. The moment he connect me, immediately he start asking, okay, how many batches that institution started? Now, okay, start in 2016. Yes, he was visiting every January 1st week to Ashtangam. He was there from every moment of Ashtangam. I was a honorary director of Ashtangam, so I was there from the beginning of Ashtangam. And whenever we are placing our first stone of Ashtangam, he was there. When Ashtangam was inaugurated with lambing, besides the Kanipayur family, my father, Krishnakumar Ji was one of the person who made the lamp for that program. And every year in January 1st week, he used to come and address the students independently. He says to the teachers, you get away, I want to speak with the students. I want to know what they want to learn. He was so inspirational every time and trying to track people. Even there are so funny things, many students later on will have a message with him, and he used to address with, exchange their thoughts, etc. like that. It's not easy at all. Being an entrepreneur, they may have so many things in their mind as a business person, but coming down to the very simple employee or simple student, a common man, and tracking them in time to time, and giving them guidance in time to time is absolutely impossible for an ordinary human being. That which he was doing, and every time he was so respectful to take opinion from any person. In I think in 2018, 17 or 18, when he had a strong conflict, especially with the CCIM, everybody knows that he was one of the person instrumental to break this whole corruptive system of Central Council of Indian Medicine through different political areas. And he made an extensive letter to the Secretary of Ayush and Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and all the people. And the draft he sent to me, and he asked me to read out. It was around 8 to 10 pages of a great, it's like a white paper, I can say, or a vision document about Ayurveda, even today. So he elaborately written about the challenges of Ayurvedic education, what we have, what are the areas we should change, and if at all we change, what are the outcomes it can happens, like that. Wonderful document, and he sent to me in WhatsApp and asked me, you go through these things and please give your suggestions too. I told I'm not a person to give you a suggestion because I'm not a visionary like you. But he told, no. But you have your own life experiences. You are in a teaching field from last 15 years. Why don't you do that? Then I given some suggestions added into that. So this was, many times when you are in a higher and higher position, normally people believe that, okay, now I can draft things very confidentially, but he was taking opinion from many people, not only like me, many people, and try to do the best for Ayurveda. This is something I always appreciate, especially like, from an entrepreneurship point of view, in the development of Care Keralam, the consortium for the industries. Krishnakumar Ji was instrumental, and many areas in the industry. Whenever the challenges comes, definitely he is one person in front, representing Kerala or representing industry, and addressing the official government. What are the things? I still remember one of the beautiful statement of Krishnakumar Ji. Whenever this other people comes to Ayurveda manufacturing unit, they feel a little bit ugly because our manufacturing units are not as clean, as pure like a pharma company. So there is a statement of Krishnakumar Ji. I don't remember to whom he had told, but I still remember that statement. So it says, you see, you are going to see an Ayurvedic kitchen where we collect raw material from different part of the country and we cook in a very most traditional, beautiful way, not a sophisticated way, in a natural, humanly way, and we produce the nectar. Whereas in your pharmaceutical company, with the most sophisticated way, you create poison. So, so he was that statement, starting from a crude things, we create nectar, amrit, and starting from a sophisticated thing, you create poison. That to extent, still, that's a beautiful statement what he made. That changes the mindset of a person who visit the factory. Because many time our industrial Ayurvedic industry might have been not so clean as they expected.
Yes.
So I'll still remember many such situation, like Krishnakumar Ji's such situation, make the thought process of the people.
So, what I understood from you is that you remember his selflessness, and also being able to, see the bigger picture and stand for the whole industry rather than pushing your own agenda forward. And this is something that he did for Ayurvedic industry, pharmaceutical industry, and also Ayurvedic educational institutions. And also, you mentioned that he remembers every small things about everyone and try to, keep in touch with him, touch with each and everyone who got in touch with him, however big they are, however small they are, and that attention to small details, which extends to, students or even those who have no connection with the Ayurveda. This is something that a lot of people remember him by. So you remember that Krishnakumar Ji's father was also a social reformer who stood with the people during a lot of struggles of this country and even Coimbatore. So how do you think we as a Vaidya community should work with the other Indic communities to preserve our culture and welfare on those less fortunate than us?
That's a very important question, because very oftenly when we think, okay, we are becoming an Ayurveda doctor, we oftenly copy the conventional Western medical doctor and we try to be a B team, or our image was like a modern Western doctor who has generally, they have very minimum social interaction besides their medical fraternities or related with hospital, etc. Whereas the Vaidyas were very different. Vaidyas were really in the society. They were part of the society. They were the guiding soul of the society. And they were not just prescription personalities, sitting other side of the table and giving some healing prescriptions. No, they were people, they were really guiding the people in time to time whenever there is a need. They were influenced by temples. They were influenced by almost all the areas of the society and what they need. I just give an example. Many years before, I don't know, even 15 years before, once I was speaking with Krishnakumar Ji. So Krishnakumar Ji was telling that there is a big challenge to get a good milk in Coimbatore area. So I had an idea to empower people to get a very good milk. And he told that he purchased many cows and given to different houses. But milking is a problem. Not many people could do that. And there needs a special skill to do, at least in a short limited period of time. Then he also organized the person to milk that. So that person will go and milking and get collected. Maybe that is an idea later on evolved to become a Kshira Sagara, like cows products, and that thing developed later on in Coimbatore. You see, cow milk, these are very fundamental things to the society on which the whole society runs. So he given employment to the milk taking person. One side he assured the good quality of milk for the really needed. This is not an ordinary people could think of. That means Swadhubagar Samsnigdam Ojasyam Dhaduvardhanam Vadapittaram Snigdam Shleshmulam Guru Sheetalam Prayaha Payaha. Prayaha, generally, if you want to get an ideal milk, these are the qualities. So Ojasyam Dhaduvardhanam is here. He was imagining the Coimbatore itself is like a Sharira. And so the whole body, and there are each families are like each organs or cells, and he want to do dhatu poshanam, that family, that is milk. So that's what I want to say, that a Vaidya is not never looking into a shariram as an individual one, the whole society as a body. That was looking from a large sketch, large canvas. That is not easy. A normal person cannot do. So in interrupting in the social need, if there are lack of spirituality, he will bring spirituality wherever his institutions are there. First thing, he will start with a temple there, like Dhanvantari temple there, or Chotanika temple in there, or Guru Ayurappan temple, wherever. Because Jnanam starts from there. So he used to say, Jnanam start, you surrender there, then Jnanam start from there, and start from there, everything in and around. That idea was, how a Vaidya could be theoretically is very idealistic situation. But to convert that theoretical perception to practicality is very difficult, at least in the new century. But he was trying to demonstrate that through different works in social interactions. Not only these, he was in the part of Agila Kerala Ayyappa Seva Sangam. He was the president of Agila Kerala Ayyappa Seva Sangam. He was also the part of many social activities, many social activities which really society needs. It's not easy. No, he was not only running Ayurveda college, he was also adopted schools. He has also adopted many ashrams. Wherever there is a need, wherever there is a challenge of the humanity, from a health point of view, how a humanitarian person can do, that Krishnakumar Ji was really looking those areas. And he was really connecting between them. And very interestingly, this is what I always learned from him, that tradition is not against the modernity. He was not against modernity, rather he was a little bit against about westernity. That's a proper thing. So keeping modernity is different from westernity. When iPad came, I seen in his table iPad 1 and 2. He was so fond of new gadgets time to time, using the most advanced gadget. He learned, he do things, he communicate things. So he was keeping all the possibilities of modernity, and at the same time has a strong background of tradition. I can say traditionally modern. That approach is very important. That approach is a great model. Many times people have a wrong notion. Somebody means more tradition means they are very orthodoxical, very stubborn to the things. Not like that. This was I learned from him a lot, like in many areas.
What you have said is very profound, sir. That you said that Vaidya should be the protector of the society that they live in, as a father figure for the people around them. And also, you mentioned that innovativeness is something that Krishnakumar Ji tried to bring into Ayurvedic practice and pharmaceutics and education. And that innovativeness should work with modernity while standing on tradition. So coming to the Ayurvedic society. So Krishnakumar Ji has a vision to establish the Indic wisdom tree, like Gurukula Sampradaya. This is something that he really tried to work on till the end of his time. As an educator, I'm someone who has spoken with him on this regard. What is your thoughts on establishing of an education system like that, and how what Krishnakumar Ji's vision was regarding this, and how do you think we should work on that?
This is very interesting because there was a period when the science subjects were really going away from the humanity subjects. Like when the science like biology, chemistry, or the technical science progresses, there is a belief that, okay, we are not interested in novels, arts, music. No. This is something very, subjective and not that area. And those people are even considered as a little bit inferior when we compare to the other technical areas. But the whole scenario has changed now in most of the institutions, even in the modern medical institutions. It is becoming very mandatory to know more about culture, science, besides science, culture, literature, many things, to expand the wisdom of our information, which Krishnamurti ji done much more before. This was very interesting. Whenever we have a learning areas, for example, a Vaidya, how are we able to see all the conditions? No. But through literature, we can learn the pain of a situation. Through different stories, we can understand their cultures. So literature or the Sahitya is a very important thing, because it gives a lot of ideas about culture, because culture on which many of the disease also originated from. So keeping that idea, he often used to say how we could connect, Jyotisham. Very oftenly he make many references of Jyotisham, Vastu Shastram, Vedanta, Many areas he oftenly connect to. Even when the patient comes, I have seen sometime he will say, okay, you look at his astrological thing. I think he has read many other books. So he'll say, look at their astrological thing. And maybe he has Shani Dasha or he has some other period. That's why this disease is not get cured. Because
And
there
he will
was
also advise people to visit a Jyotisha, do this Kula Devata Puja. There will be a temple which is related to your ancestors, and do puja. This I have heard him also advise to people.
Yeah, very oftenly. Besides Yukti Vipasvaya, the usual rational medical treatment, he used to oftenly advise us, the patient, whenever he have interaction with the people who comes, make advantages of traditional knowledge systems like Jyotisham, Vastu, even Vedanta or other things, make use of that for healing purposes. That was his great vision. Very oftenly he refer also. You go to this temple and do that thing and your condition may become better. He very precisely even references to particular area too, because he also personally visited many of these places, and even he has a strong connection in the spiritual people too. That's another area which many people doesn't know, because he had enormous connections all over India with a great spiritual leaders. Many of the spiritual leaders' name might have never been heard before, but he knows those people. I still remember there was a conference happened in 2008, the Punarnava's second conference, I believe, Science Meet Consciousness in Rishikesh. So I was one of the participants there as also speaker there. So it was almost 6 or 7 days to stay there. Along with me, Dr. N. Gopalakrishnan sir was there. So there are many people were there. So we used to explore their wisdom. So that time I also communicated Krishnakumar Ji, and Krishnakumar Ji told, okay, go and meet certain people in that area immediately. So I was very surprised. How come he know that these are the people staying there, not for the participants of the program? Those are the very highly spiritual people there. And those people were totally unknown people there. I met some of the people, and I had a very different experiences there. So what I want to say is that according to the need of the person, he tried to push people up. I mean, lift the people up in time to time. And that was another area which I found helping many of the people, not only Ayurvedic people, non-Ayurvedic people too. And another thing, he was also had a strong connection with the people like Prema Panduranga Madam and Padma Subramaniam. Once I had a conversation with him, so I had a discussion with about the spirituality of the Bhagavatam, the bhakti and other things. So immediately quoted many beautiful statements from Bhagavatam to explaining this. So I realizes that then he told, maybe I'm not more deep into that. If you have still some more questions, I can connect you to Prema Panduranga Madam. She can give you immediate answer. I told, no, I'm very much satisfied with your question. So, whenever we are in a confusion, whenever we are in a challenges, definitely he was a great source of correction, very great source of inspiration in any level possible. This is another area he was trying to push as best as possible.
Yes, sir. He was a man of culture, and he believed in connecting people with other people, and he wanted to act as a medium for great things to happen always. And you work with a lot of foreign institutions and governments to promote Ayurveda abroad. And Krishnakumar Ji was one of the pioneers who had taken initiatives to get Ayurveda into the Western world by initiating research and courses with the foreign institutions and initiating those collaborations. How do you think his initiative paved the way for Ayurveda in the Western world today?
I think he was one of the oldest, at the same time youngest Indian who could represent Ayurveda, like in 1976 to WHO. Maybe he was age very young, maybe 25 to 30 years, representing World Health Organization and going there, interacting with them to bring the project like rheumatoid arthritis project, like that. Because he was very fortunate to get a very good English education from his education. That was really a strong advantage he had. At the same time, he had a strong support from his father, about the practice of Ayurveda, the depth of knowledge of Ayurveda, like that. Both this was very complementary for him, which helping him to connect many people. And moreover, through the spiritual connectivities, he was very close with most of the people. Whoever comes to his center, he will connect them each other and make them to understand. For example, I still remember one incident when Dr. Antonio Marandi, one of our European counterpart based on Italy, came to Thrissur and we had some conversation. So we had some a plan to expand this Ayurveda education in different countries. Then we thought to have an idea, or we had an idea to discuss with Krishnakumar Ji, because then I communicated to Krishnakumar Ji, we would like to come to Coimbatore and to have interaction. Immediately, don't come to Coimbatore, I'll come to Thrissur. Then next day, even though he was not healthy at all, next day he came to Thrissur for interaction, traveling such a long distance. So that was the person, whenever we ask him some help or whenever we ask him some idea, definitely he'll be ready to come and inspire even for the Western people with a proper, because of his wide reading. This is also another great advantage he had. He had a wide reading of books, and with the help of that he could able to convince people very strongly with very clarity in such a way that they will become really they really become like Daniel first when he had interaction, just make them to become the part of them immediately, because he had a great charisma also to keep the people near him with a magnetic field he creates. Besides the capacity, he had a great magnetic field around him to keep the people in and around and convincing them in a proper way. And I think he may be another person who took, he was one of the figure, and at least he had many disciples who went different part of the world, like almost 20-25 years by Dr. Jeevan, and almost 20-25 years by Ram Prasad in Australia. And like that, at least from 1975 or 1980, many of his own disciples were there in different part of the world. That's because of his own support, I believe. I think that's one of the area he had strong vision that how Ayurveda could take into the next step. I could say he could have been survived, so could have been the head of International Cooperation Council of Ayush, because he could have take Ayurveda at least to next 50 countries in a properly positioned, not like a food supplement, properly positioning Ayurveda as a great traditional knowledge system of this country.
Thank you, sir. Actually, this has been a lot of, sharing a lot of things about Krishnakumar Ji, which are very profound and deep, and which has impacted us in smaller and larger ways, in some of the ways which we don't even know. But do you have some lighter moments of joy that experienced with him that you remember very fondly?
Oh, yes. When he had the renal problems, when we had a discussion, he asked me, do you want to try any Ayurvedic treatment? Uh, so I told, no, I don't want to take. No, I am an experiment. You can do all experiment. There is no problem. You can do all your experiments on my body. I had the renal issue, health issues, so, like that. And also, when I was I met him once when he came to Vishnu Ayurveda College. So my wife Devi was there and my children was there. So immediately my children touched his foot and had a chat. Then he asked, my children, what are you studying, in which school, what saying, in which school they're studying. So he told so and so. Then immediately asked me that, are you teaching them Ashtanga Hridayam? I told, not yet. No, you should start tomorrow onwards. Immediately he was insisting me, why you are sending them to school? You keep them in the house, teach Ashtanga Hridayam, teach Sanskrit, other things. They can write directly to the 10th examination. I will make arrangement all for that. You just teach them your ancestors' wisdom, keep them with your father or keep them with you from morning to evening, teach them Ashtanga Hridayam. I told, your idea is correct, Krishnakumar Ji, but is it possible in this new area? You do not take risk in life. Those people who take risk are succeeded. So do that. Actually, after those statements from Krishnakumar Ji, then only later on I started teaching my children Ashtanga Hridayam. Before that, I was never taught. Even though I have been taught in my younger days by my parents, I never thought to start them because they were only 7, 8 years. I was never thought that I could start teaching them Ashtanga Hridayam. Only by Krishnakumar Ji's those statement, you're supposed to start immediately. So there are so many, personal this thing, and even he track. There's another thing, if he says something, he immediately will track. Did you started? Which chapter they started? And in front of him, I made them to chant some Bhagavad Gita slokams because they were participating in competition. So he was so joyful to look at them and bless them. So for me, he was like a great mentor, like my father, like my teacher, who has a large canvas, who look things from a very large canvas of the whole Ayurveda community as a large canvas. And very oftenly, I used to say to my students that, he was always smiling, never get agitated, never get angry at all. And there is a statement I always used to tell students: you cannot destroy the smile of that face because the source of that smile is not his physical body. Because the source of that smile is not the physical body, it's something coming from very deep from him. So whenever you stay near to him, whenever you communicate with him, the whole day you will be charged with a lot of ideas. And few things I always feel that he always insists people to work hard and hard, which oftenly he says to the Ayurvedic people that you people are not working hard. Have a vision, work very hard for the future of Ayurveda. This was a great inspirational, making hard work for the future of Ayurveda. Many times, when we have our professional life, often we found not so hardworking, which he was always, never say, okay, now it is relaxing. No, there'll be another task, you do that. Then there is another task, you do that. Keep doing, keep inspiring people. This was the only thing which I always remember him, because that inspiration and connecting people, that's another thing. Wherever you go to a conference, you meet him, immediately he will connect nearby people and say, okay, this person, he's good in this, and this person is good in this, you connect like this. Connecting people always is a beautiful thing, not an ordinary people can do. I still have a great memory of him. I don't have much more word to say. It is a great loss for Ayurveda.
Yes, sir. But his time in this world, we all were touched by his presence and his wisdom and his way of, dealing with people and working tirelessly towards what he believed in. And thank you, sir, for sharing your precious memories of Krishnakumar Ji. And I feel this was very beautiful, but also very personal. And thank you for sharing that. And by sharing this is how we can take his legacy forward and keep his memories alive. And I hope that Krishnakumar Ji will guide us forward in our Ayurveda journey and the struggles Ayurveda faces now, and into the next chapter in Ayurveda's struggle with establishing itself in this world. So thank you once again, sir. It was beautiful listening to you talking about Krishnakumar Ji. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.